Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being, where all the human race, our common enemy is death. Welcome on Perfect Society. I'm Ur Hofman, and you're watching the broadcast Geo-engineered Storm Wind in the Netherlands to spread coronavirus. 1 week storm. So, in the Netherlands, we've had this wind, pretty hard winds. And in my, what did I call it, Mandela effect mind, this has been around, it has been blowing for about 4 days, this wind, and it still is, basically. So here we have a weather map, basically. You can see this on weerlive.nl. So this is all today, the 16th of February. Weather on 15th of February. So let's check the 9th of February. We also had wind gusts maximal. How would it translate this? Let's see. Google Translate, page into English. Maximum gust 25 meters per second. And that was the 9th of February. So I can't remember ever having a week of wind, stormy wind, this long in the Netherlands. Never. Never. So I thought I should just report about it, basically. And they call this wind Dennis. Where did I see that? Let's see. Just Google wind Nederland. News. Wind with the power of a hurricane because of Storm Dennis. I think of Dennis the Menace, people being home quarantined, etc. And I also theorized about this before, 3 days ago or so. I had a video about cancer chemtrails. The idea is that they have to collect rainwater and check if the virus is present in that as well. Then there would not be any need for all these hospitals, because it's aerosol transmission, so then it's carried by the wind and water droplets that evaporate. The rain comes down, washes the virus from the surfaces, and then the virus is carried by the water droplets that evaporate again, of course. So could it be that this is just a designed calamity to reduce the global population to 500 million? and that the chemical scans are causing prescription drugs, Tamiflu and another one. It's a combination of Tamiflu and Caletra, and the other one was remdesivir, that these drugs won't be effective, that it's designed so it may mutate into something deadlier and more contagious. And then I can look at that spike on Bino News. I don't know what caused that. Here, let's see, tracking coronavirus. And they've also given 2019 nCoV a new name. But all my documents are gone. When I open these Word documents, then usually they stay open when I restart the PC. But sometimes they disappear somehow. It's weird. Anyway, there are currently 69,289 confirmed cases worldwide, including 1,670 fatalities. But this website, bnonews.com, I call it Bno News, so it's not like Bang & Olufsen, but it's Bno News. When we look at that graphic here, then we see a sort of spike. All of a sudden it spikes, it goes up almost in a straight line. So are the amount of cases increasing exponentially? Is the amount of cases increasing exponentially is the question. And Agenda Free TV was claiming that there were less cases and stuff. How is that possible with this graphic showing the opposite, basically? Some people thought in that broadcast that they were doing that for economic reasons. It's bad for their economy, so they just pretend it has almost died down, the virus is almost gone. Everything's gonna be alright. I just said everything's gonna be alright, but okay. So we can check that other wind map. I'll put the links in the description. So what do you all think? Is this geo-engineered? Of course, the global warming scam, the global warming hoax of Al Gore, paid for by George Soros, also fits in with hiding the geoengineering, the ionospheric heaters punching holes in the Earth's ionosphere, and the fact that cancer cell phone radiation heats up your eyeball with about 2 degrees Celsius. I've shown the scientific documents. And that it wasn't peer-reviewed yet doesn't mean that that article won't be back about HIV components in the possibly engineered virus. So because of all these book quotes of people that want to reduce the global population, the $1 million Georgia Guidestones, and the pandemic exercise that also talked about coronavirus, etc. Many people think this is not a coincidence. This is done by design. They're reducing the global population. Okay? Okay, so let's check the other days. The 9th of February, now it's the 16th. If it's really shocking or just a normal storm. So 9th of February, today is the 16th. Let's see also a day back, the 8th of February. Also 10 meters per second. Maximum gust, but not as bad as the next day, 25 meter per second gusts. The 10th of February, 22 meters per second gusts. 11th, 20 meter per second gusts. The 12th, 18 meter per second. 13th of February. Well, oh, the 13th there was almost no wind. And then the 14th there was 10 meters again. And usually that's not normal either, basically. That's blowing harder blowing harder than it usually does. They use hybrid insect microelectric mechanical systems in my throat as part of the no-talk programming. They've also tortured my teeth out of my mouth, so that's normal to these people that want to reduce the global population. It's no-talk programming and suicide programming. If you're wondering why are they doing this to me, everybody without a targeted individual, everybody without a Tesla plasma shield is a targeted individual. And brain waves can be altered, memory can be erased selectively, and that way they can create these speech errors that they've been letting me make. Also by attacking my Broca's area. Every time I turn on my left side in my waterbed, these spasm attacks start. Lately they've been doing that less, sometimes they do it less, but every time I talk about it they do it more again, so then I can only lie on my back or on my right side. And it has to do with their hybrid insect program, because they're in my body, they don't want me to lie on my stomach, especially not on my left side apparently, the side where also the human heart is located. So the question is also, is this virus an antibody-dependent virus? And how fast is it mutating? There were two conclusions, though I don't know if I can remember them both, but the idea is, if this is a novel coronavirus, a new one, then it must have mutated from a previous, for example, SARS coronavirus or whatever, into what it's now. If it is a natural, not engineered virus. And the other scientific article had something in it like, every generation of these viruses has mutated to a certain extent. Their RNA or whatever is not the same for every generation. So how long does this virus live, for example, and why don't we know if it's an antibody-dependent virus when we already see pictures of it under a microscope? One theory is that it's a bioweapon. Also senators in the US Senate have talked about this. It was also on CNN. And they erased my memory, so I forgot what I wanted to say. But the point was, it is mutating also, so that means that the deactivated virus in the vaccines, which are killer vaccines, also because of the other ingredients, and because of the fact that chemicals have a synergistic effect with cancer-causing electromagnetic radiation, according to Dr. Syl Smith, cannot be the same as the virus out there that is mutating, that has mutated. So it's a patented virus. And there are several coronavirus and several patents, coronavirus or viruses. and 27,000 times less variants are required to induce equivalent disease when dispersed in aerosol form. I've covered that article also in my previous broadcasts. So other people think that it's also spread by cancer chemtrails. Chemtrails in America, CIA, Project Cloverleaf, the cloud seeding patents, the CIA's evergreen aviation planes, etc. And it's a global program to reduce the global population. And I've explained why chemtrails are not contrails. And this fits in with the geoengineering to give the illusion that global warming is real. That's another broadcast I did. Because cancer chemtrails trap the heat between the Earth and the cloud-seeded clouds, so the heat cannot dissipate into space, thus contributing to anthropogenic global warming, which doesn't exist except for the geoengineering, etc. they're doing to make it seem that it's natural but man-made global warming, basically caused by men, and not natural warm periods and cold periods, warm periods and ice ages. Don't know if they also have a word for warm periods. But other scientists have explained to me why it is the latter. These are natural fluctuations in the temperature on Earth, not anthropogenic, not man-made, not caused by men. Which is the thing they want to pretend, because they want to reduce the global population. They want to misdirect everybody as much as possible. So they often pretend that the opposite of whatever is true is the truth. So we can always think of what is the opposite and then compare it to what they have said. And then check if there is any evidence that fits in with that truth, possible truth. I also did a video about the test kits, an unreliable test kit, and I don't know how reliable the other ones are, but it's possible they're not real test kits, and about 50% of the people test positive, also if they're negative, and vice versa. So it just is there to inject everybody with killer vaccines to reduce the global population. Jane Burgermeister has also talked about this. So for example, if the vaccines would be contaminated with Ebola, rabies and HIV, and everybody would die from that after a while, then these companies would be legally immune. Trump also made it easier to rush through the killer vaccines, and the list of epidemics caused by vaccinations, you could argue it's better to call it list of pandemics caused by vaccinations. We now see this coronavirus, which may be the result of years of vaccinating and mutating viruses, etc. So they don't know what they're doing. It's genetically modified, and they haven't tested the effect of these GMOs on nature for 100 years in a controlled greenhouse. They've just released it in our biosphere, and they even have corn that grows the AIDS virus in it. So wake up, people. Geoengineering is real, and so are designer viruses, which they supposedly only use in the vaccines, though they also have state-sponsored terrorism, and bioweapons obviously are real as well. You can read the wiki article on that. So, of course, this is a theory without any proper evidence. I'm not accusing anybody, but I think that lots of people think that this is done deliberately, and that it's not normal to have these wind gusts for a week in the Netherlands, and perhaps we've never had this before. Have we ever had this before, and when was that then? How long did it blow? I did a broadcast about what's coming up, the military, and they're also using blue helmets in Africa to inject people. So these people that want to reduce the global population want to make it mandatory, despite the fact that there are no good reasons to make it mandatory, only reasons to keep vaccination voluntary, as I have explained in my previous broadcasts. And that it's mutating is only one reason. I made a top 10 of reasons why it should be kept voluntary, so check my previous broadcasts for that. What was flight map C virus? Oh yeah. That's a good one to have on now. Because if they don't have a cure yet, and they're not locking it down, they're not quarantining everybody, so lots of people are still flying from China, and there are other people around the world that may have been infected, that may carry the virus. It might have an incubation period of a month. But the question is also, could it be a I have to search for the correct term here. A race-specific bioweapon. There is also a wiki article about it, I think, though they call it differently. I'd have to search for that. Let's search in history, wiki. Takes a while. An ethnic bioweapon. An ethnic bioweapon, biogenetic weapon, is a type of theoretical bioweapon that aims to harm only or primarily people of specific ethnicities or genotypes. Well, if it is a genetically modified organism, then theoretically it could be a race-specific bioweapon. So we can read about these, about ethnic bioweapon. Let's do that then. Instead of more information about geoengineering, there's so much information available. It may be done with ionospheric heaters, FIPA, frequency independent phased array antenna park in Poker Flat, Alaska. Not HARP, but this is stronger than HARP, terawatts, burning natural gas, others claim diesel, to modify the climate, and they're called ionospheric heaters, not ionospheric coolers, of course. So how can that not lead to global warming when you're punching holes in the Earth's ionosphere and burning natural gas? But I'm more interested in the ethnic bioweapon for now. And as you all know, when I use Open Broadcaster software, I have to restart the text-to-speech engine. And I was thinking about using another one. So bear with us, it takes a while to restart it. So, can anybody disprove that it's spread in chemtrails? And can anybody disprove another theory that is that it's just induced with scalar weapons, cloning disease patterns, or a combination of the two? So first, the virus is spread in chemtrails, and then they trigger it with the scalar technology. Everything has its own natural frequency, its mortal oscillatory rate frequency of Dr. Rife. And in the Netherlands and Germany they call it eigenfrequenz. And the wiki article on that is very scarce and scientific, but in physics we've been taught about that bridge and things like that. So that's the cure of all diseases. I've covered Dr. Rife in my broadcast on YouTube also. There's a SARS coronavirus Dr. Rife frequency, and another one for coronavirus. And I think the SARS coronavirus Rife may be most effective. And another news article claimed that when the virus comes back, it's even deadlier. When people have had it and were cured and then it comes back, supposedly. But I have not verified this, so this is all theorizing, and I keep clear what is fact and what is theory, because I'm a conspiracy factist. But to come to new conclusions, we have to theorize sometimes to find new facts that otherwise we wouldn't have found. And the conspiracy to reduce the global population is a conspiracy fact, not theory. Proven by the book quotes $1 Million Georgia Guidestones. So then we can finally read the wiki article ethnic_bioweapon on wiki.
An ethnic bioweapon, biogenetic weapon, is a type of theoretical bioweapon that aims to harm only or primarily people of specific ethnicities or genotypes. History. One of the first modern fictional discussions of ethnic weapons is in Robert A. Heinlein's 1942 novel Sixth Column, republished as The Day After Tomorrow, in which a race-specific radiation weapon is used against a so-called Pan-Asian invader. Citation needed. Genetic weapons. In 1997, U.S. Secretary of Defense William Cohen referred to the concept of an ethnic bioweapon as a possible risk. 1. In 1998, some biological weapon experts considered such a genetic weapon plausible, and believed the former Soviet Union had undertaken some research on the influence of various substances on human genes. 2. In its 2000 policy paper Rebuilding America's Defenses, think tank Project for the New American Century, PNUC, described ethnic bioweapons as a potentially politically useful tool. PNUC went on to provide substantial staffing for the G.W. Bush administration. 3. The possibility of a genetic bomb is presented in Vincent Sarik's and Frank Meal's book, Race, The Reality of Human Differences, published in 2004. These authors view such weapons as technically feasible but not very likely to be used. Page 248 of paperback edition. In 2004, The Guardian reported that the British Medical Association, BMA, considered bioweapons designed to target certain ethnic groups as a possibility, and highlighted problems that advances in science for such things as treatment to Alzheimer's and other debilitating diseases could also be used for malign purposes. 4. In 2005, the official view of the International Committee of the Red Cross was the potential to target a particular ethnic group with a biological agent is probably not far off. These scenarios are not the product of the ICRC's imagination but have either occurred or been identified by countless independent and governmental experts. 5. In 2008, the U.S. government held a congressional committee, Genetics and Other Human Modification Technologies, Sensible International Regulation or a New Kind of Arms Race, during which it was discussed how we can anticipate a world where rogue, and even not so rogue, states and non-state actors attempt to manipulate human genetics in ways that will horrify us. 6. In 2012, The Atlantic wrote that a specific virus that targets individuals with a specific DNA sequence is within possibility in the near future. The magazine put forward a hypothetical scenario of a virus which caused mild flu to the general population but deadly symptoms to the President of the United States. They cite advances in personalized gene therapy as evidence. 7. In 2016, Foreign Policy magazine suggested the possibility of a virus used as an ethnic bioweapon that could sterilize a genetically related ethnic population. 8. Israeli ethnobomb controversy. In November 1998, the Sunday Times reported that Israel was attempting to build an ethnobomb containing a biological agent that could specifically target genetic traits present amongst Arab populations. 9. Wired News also reported the story, 10/11, as did Foreign Report. 12. Microbiologists and geneticists were skeptical towards the scientific plausibility of such a biological agent. 13. The New York Post, describing the claims as blood libel, reported that the likely source for the story was a work of science fiction by Israeli academic Doron Stanitsky. Stanitsky had sent his completely fictional work about such a weapon to Israeli newspapers 2 years before. The article also noted the views of genetic researchers who claimed the idea as wholly fantastical, with others claiming that the weapon was theoretically possible. 1415. Russian ban on export of biological samples. In May 2007, a Russian newspaper Kommersant reported that the Russian government banned all exports of human biosamples. 16. The report claims that the reason for the ban was a secret FSB report about ongoing development of genetic bioweapons targeting Russian population by Western institutions. The report mentions the Harvard School of Public Health, American International Health Alliance, Department of Medical Biotechnology of Jagiellonian University, United States Department of Justice Environment and Natural Resources Division, Institute of Genetics and Biotechnology Warsaw University, and United States Agency for International Development.
So if this is a black operation, or a PSYOP, psychological operation, then they form controlled opposition to themselves. So they have people claiming the truth but blaming the wrong people, attributing book quotes to other people that didn't do it and that didn't say these things, etc. They'd mix in lies to make sure that there's no real resistance to what's really going on. So that's another thing to watch out for and to Google: controlled opposition. So they're not just shills, they're not just selling stuff. Okay. And of course, if they can remotely torture and kill people with directed energy weapons, and they scan their mind with synthetic telepathy since 1974, the Malich patent has been around, the apparatus to remotely monitor and alter brainwaves, and patents are not provided unless it's a working device. And they have through-the-wall radar, so they can see anybody with weapons in their environment. Nobody can even get close, so then nobody could do anything about it if it were true, and nobody would be able to prove electronarcosis. So that doesn't prove that it doesn't exist or that they're not doing that. So if people want to ridicule this idea, what evidence do they have to disprove this theorem? So I have other things to do. Please like, subscribe, and spread this important broadcast on your timeline, on your social media platform, websites, and think about it, what we can do about it. Another question is, of course, if colloidal silver is effective Then why are they blocking colloidal silver shipments? Well, the answer is simple: to reduce the global population, of course. So they want to cover up these scientific documents, but the Silver Edge and Pure Colloids Co. UK have more information about colloidal silver. Then I'd have to find my article, chat remarks with emojis. Open this. Okay, and about the bioweapon thing. Coronavirus bioweapon, Sam Parker on Twitter. Who was the other prominent person? Bioweapon, Corona. They've also changed the name of 2019 nCoV into SARS-CoV-2 or something. I think that's not a good idea. News. Senator Tom Cotton thinks coronavirus is a bioweapon. CNN 10th February 2020. So they'd formed controlled opposition to themselves, and it may not be from the BSL-4 lab in Wuhan, but from somewhere else, of course. That it was spread there doesn't mean that it's from that facility, the biosafety level 4 facility, which is the highest security level when it comes to engineering viruses, supposedly for vaccines, etc. So who has the ability? Could Wuilan Bao Husan in Shanghai also create something like this? I found another link to a website that had more information in that direction, so it showed a screenshot of the website, but when I check ruiblue.com, like I did in the broadcast, then I see that it has been around only 260 days. That was yesterday or the day before. So it could be a new website. It could fit in with a program to blame it on China instead of others who have possibly engineered this. A trade war on China, possibly even world war, prelude to world war, weakening China and perhaps also other countries. Perhaps this will become global. But what I wanted to read was what Tom Cotton wrote on Twitter. Oh, Sam Parker. At Sam Parker Senate, February 12th, .35, the World Health Organization rebranded this bioweapon without completely W/A completely, quote, sterile, unquote, and, quote, innocuous, unquote, name, COVID-19. I have a better name. The old Cold War had its, quote, Star Wars, unquote. So in this hashtag new Cold War, hashtag state terrorism, accidentally released Wuhan acute respiratory syndrome, hashtag Star Wars. Well, perhaps it's better if I go to the Twitter. I copied this into a text. Basically, here you can see what I just read. So I wonder if that's even a complete sentence. But okay, February 12th, 36 whelp. Here it is, friends. Twitter has started blocking me from sharing my own thread. It's up to you to get the truth out there. Hashtag bioarms race, hashtag Chinese Chernobyl, hashtag Corona cover-up, hashtag COVID_19. I've never gotten a message like this before. Is it a new manipulation method? Sam Parker, at Sam Parker Senate, February 12, 37. Just made me go through a lengthy verification process a few weeks ago requiring driver's license and passport so they know I'm not a bot. This platform manipulation and shadow ban bullying is such garbage. Anyone else of Twitter's shenanigans? Anyone else sick of Twitter's shenanigans? Please let's get this thread moving again. Retweet. Meet Dr. Zhengli Shi, Senior Scientist, Principal Investigator of Wuhan National Biosafety Laboratory, China's only BSL-4 facility, 8 miles from the supposed center of the outbreak. She's perhaps the world's foremost expert on bat virology and coronavirus. Let's look at Dr. Zhengli's recent papers and funding grants, shall we? In the last 5 years, she's raised $10 million to study coronavirus and zoonotic diseases spread by animals like bats, along with their epidemic potential. This is definitely not the part that I have copied. I think they put something else in here. Let's see if I have it somewhere else. Sam Parker Senate COVID bioweapon. Okay, yeah, point 11. So it was the wrong document. Apparently it can control our mind and mislead us. We know this is a weapon for a few reasons. So he's claiming we know this is a weapon. One, the coronavirus it is most closely related to is SARS. There is a professor that confirmed this, that it's genetically related to SARS. In a video, and he's CDC or some other professor associated with WHO and an official that brings us the official story, basically. This tells us, so it's most closely related to SARS. This tells us that SARS was used as the base pathogen. Was SARS an earlier phase of the program? Maybe. It contains HIV GP120 and GAG protein receptor sequences. These receptor sequences allow the virus to bind to human CD4 T-type white blood cells. If this were due to random mutation, and I've noticed other articles with this GAG in it, so perhaps that's just a trigger for the neural network to round up people, etc. Of course, the people that have created this bioweapon want to keep that secret if it is a bioweapon, and they're doing this to reduce the global population. They don't want to be caught. These receptor sequences allow the virus to bind to human CD4 T-type white blood cells. And in the movies, the 6 Resident Evil movies, it's about a T virus. And I looked up C virus that exists already, so it's not okay to call this the C virus. But okay, it was just a joke, you know. And perhaps it is a C virus as well. I'd have to Google C virus. Let's see. No, I haven't. Not hepatitis C virus. So then I Google C virus minus hepatitis. The chrysalid virus, abbreviated as C virus, is a family of viruses that were created by the... Oh, that's Resident Evil. So, that's supposedly not real. Though others have claimed in the chat that Resident Evil is real. That it may describe the agenda that they have, basically the plan to reduce the global population, and its predictive programming to give everybody the role in this population reduction circus. We've seen Resident Evil, so we know what we're supposed to do. Genetic lineage and reassortment. I had it in my previous broadcast. C virus is also a wiki article, I think. Let's go back to hepatitis C virus wiki then. C-virus. Influenza C virus, Hepa C virus C, influenza B virus, hepatitis C, RNA virus, GB virus C, formerly known as hepatitis G virus, list of virus species, Marburg virus is also listed. Let's see. Can I do this? C virus plus C virus. It is in one of my previous broadcasts. So it has to have this text, C-virus, in it. Or perhaps that was T-virus? No. The hepatitis C virus is a small enveloped single-stranded positive sense RNA virus. That looks a little bit like it also, but it doesn't have these long, what is it, glycoprotein or something, and don't they use hepatitis and other viruses to genetically modify organisms, etc.? So corona, C corona, is an anagram of raccoon. It's spelled with double C, I think also in the movie. And coronavirus is an anagram of carnivorous also. BC. quite a list. Cabbage leaf curl virus, cacao mosaic virus, the question is also, have they checked if there's an eating pattern among these people? Have they eaten fish? And what is the maximum incubation period? And the period that that virus can stay on surfaces. They revised it from 8 or 9 days to 23 or 28 days, I think, or something. So people can carry the virus without showing any symptoms. And if it's airborne, aerosol transmission, then hospitals won't help unless they have a filter, unless the air that goes out and that comes in is filtered, basically. And I did see little things on top of the roof of that thing. Cladosporium fulvum T1 virus. RNA virus 1, ribonucleic acid. Wikipedia does not have an article with this exact name, Cladosporium fulvum T1 virus. Let's see, T virus, if that was something. But it was definitely C virus, and it was easily found the previous time. Herpes C virus, HCV, look at that as well. So we have to distinguish the zombie femdom that's about the movie from reality, basically. Perhaps it's in a video title. Did I use it in a title as well? C virus. Coronavirus possibly not antibody dependent if airborne, can C virus spread via anything. Perfect Society 34 views. Coronavirus spread by chemtrails or via air, airborne, question mark. Check rainwater, check if antibody dependent. So in this broadcast it's only 32 minutes, so then I can scroll through it fast to see if I can find the wiki page that I found in this broadcast. biotechnology, broad area of biology, involving living systems and organisms to develop or make products, or quote any technological application that uses biological systems, living organisms, or derivatives thereof to make or modify products or processes for specific use. Okay. I'm not sure if it is in this broadcast anyway, but I would think it may have been the hepatitis C, Hep C virus. Because my conclusion was that C virus exists, so it's wrong to call the coronavirus C virus. So it must have been a broadcast before that. Hep C virus is a small 55 to 65 nanometers in size envelope positive sense single-stranded RNA virus of the family Flavividae. The Hep C virus C is the cause of hepatitis C and some cancers such as liver cancer, hepatocellular carcinoma, abbreviated HCC, and lymphomas in humans. One theory is also that it's antibody dependent. It destroys the antibody, so then other viruses that could be in a contaminated vaccine, that happened before that vaccines were contaminated. They even shipped out AIDS contaminated medicine factor 8. Bayer did that, Bayer. I showed that video also, it was on NBC, and that presenter now works for the Young Turks on YouTube as well. I think they have lots of views, but usually I don't think it's that interesting. So let's search more on C virus and wiki. And mine is resident. Human T lymphotropic virus 1. No, you'd have to check my previous broadcasts and also download them and spread them if we want to change this timeline and prevent being inoculated at gunpoint with mandatory slow kill and soft kill vaccines. And again, these companies that will do that will be legally immune. And of course, dead men tell no tales, so if everybody dies from it, then there is no real resistance to them. And I think most people choose to go for the killer vaccine if it's done by the military at gunpoint. So home quarantines are Kissinger's favorite population reduction. They call it population control method. by controlling the food supply. And I've covered Global 2000 and other official documents about population reduction, and also 50 shocking population reduction quotes on the Future channel on YouTube. So check it out if you haven't done so already. But you can also find these quotes on several websites online. And famous people have also spoken out in favor of a global government, New World Order. For example, former President Bush, etc. Joe Biden also. Obama, British politicians, etc. And in France and Italy, I read they've made killer vaccines mandatory already, in violation of international law and basic human rights and basic rights that everybody has, that are anchored in the Constitution, not the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is not legally binding. So I'm not getting that C virus article in this broadcast, but there may be several viruses that would be called C virus, and the Hepatitis C virus C might be the most likely. If anybody knows what C virus is, let me know in the comments. C-virus. Perhaps I wrote it without a dash. Let's try that then. No, it's definitely with a dash, I think. Cold virus, you could think of that basically. HTLV, human T lymphotropic virus 1, type C virus particles in a cord T cell line derived by co-cultivating normal human cord leukocytes and human leukemic T cells. Nature. That's on Wikipedia.
Type C virus particles in a cord T cell line derived by co-cultivating normal human cord leukocytes and human leukemic T cells. Nature.
Oh, my microphone was off all this time. That's great, so they wanted to hide that. Sorry about that. I made some excellent points. And they can do that with synthetic telepathy. Sometimes I have my mic off while I think it's on, etc. Don't know how they do it. But it's easy because the human brainwave is electromagnetic, so everyone without a Tesla plasma shield is a targeted individual. And free will does not exist when it suppresses our own thoughts and injects other ideas that we can choose from to have the illusion that we have a choice. Okay. Let's see if I switch back to the picture show. Well, sorry that my mic was off all the time. was browsing through some stuff. I will put all these links in the description. List of fictional diseases, T-virus, list of virus species, real ones, and I saw Cladosporium fulvum T1 virus in that list under C. And a previous broadcast may have the story where I show C virus what it is. So my conclusion was that it may be wrong to call the coronavirus the C virus, and I've shown that broadcast. Oops, I want to keep this in the links. C virus. Coronavirus possibly not antibody dependent. If airborne, can C virus spread via anything, and coronavirus spread by chemtrails or via airborne. Check rainwater. Check if antibody dependent. And I've covered antibody dependent viruses in a previous broadcast as well. Antibody dependent cellular cytotoxicity, of course. So the speech errors are made systematically to make people sound unscientific and like they don't know what they're talking about. But some YouTubers may know more about this and other viruses like Ebola than these supposed doctors do, because there's a lot of information online, libraries are online, and professors and others have made statements about this, giving a deeper insight into what we know about the population reduction with bioweapons, etc. Of course, bioweapons facilities and bioweapons are real, and so is state-sponsored terrorism. So check my previous broadcast for more info about it. Again, sorry that they switched off my mic. It's done with synthetic telepathy, explained in my broadcast about scalar patterns. Also on trysomething.vegetarian on YouTube, and the Future channel about the 50 shocking population reduction quotes. So I mentioned some things that I remember that I was talking about. Don't know how long my mic has been off. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your likes, subscribes, and especially for spreading the truth, to have the influence on the timeline we need to prevent inoculation at gunpoint, to prevent World War III, and create a perfect society in which we all will live happily eternally, possible since everything is energy. So thank you all for watching, and tune in next time. Do healing things for universal peace. Kiss for single ladies who'd like one. And I'm in Meidrecht in the Netherlands, so we could drink tea or smoothies and stay healthy. If it doesn't cure you, it makes you sicker, is the theory. thank you all for watching. Tune in next time on Perfect Society. Peace out.